And we're joined now by Mets pitching prospect Brandon Sproat. Brandon, appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you very much.
So let's just go way back. What is your earliest baseball memory that you can recall?
Oh, man, that's definitely a good one. Honestly, I'd probably just take it way back, just the first years of, playing catch in the backyard with my dad, really. From that age, probably around 3-4 years old, just tossing the ball around in the backyard with him. And at this age, at the age of 23, even when I go home, I'll still go play catch with him. So it's always good to play catch with him. He was my very first coach, so that is good.
In high school, you were a 7th-round pick by the Rangers, but you chose to attend Florida. Was it a dream of yours to go to Florida when you were growing up, obviously in Florida, or what kind of went into the decision to forego pro ball and head to college?
Yeah, Florida, was at the top of my schools. They've always been a powerhouse for baseball. They turn college athletes into professionals quite a bit. But really, I think for me, it's a super tough decision I had to make, because the dream of mine was to always play professional baseball ever since I picked up a baseball. I think, honestly, the hardest part of it was like having to be honest with myself and write out the pros and cons of going to college versus going to pro ball. But I think the biggest thing for me was maturity. Looking back now, like where I'm at versus where I was then, I'm very glad that I went to college to progress in baseball, but being able to control things just in life, on my own. And that's college taught me a lot of that. So.
At what point in high school did you think professional baseball could be a reality? Was it sophomore year, junior year? Was it when you threw 95 or whatever for the first time? What made you think pro ball could be a reality for you?
So I didn't start pitching until my junior year of high school. I just went out for tryouts. And I think I hit 90 for the first time my junior year. And that was my first year of ever really pitching. I think the pro ball aspect of it kind of came into play probably the summer going into my senior year. My growing up, I always knew I had a good strong arm, but I was a very late bloomer. I developed super late. It was always a dream of mine to play professional baseball, but it was kind of like that doubt of it when you're still smaller than everyone else growing up. But I kind of filled into my shoes a little bit, filled into my body a little bit, and I think that's kind of where it kind of started and took place. So.
The Mets drafted you in the 3rd round in the 2022 draft, and you elected to go back to school. What was the thought process behind going back to school at that point? Was it important to graduate? Because I'll tell you, when I looked at your bio, I just saw SEC honor roll 100 times. So obviously, I think education mattered to you. But what was your thought process in returning to Florida?
Yeah, the Mets drafted me in 22. I really won't go into much detail about that. I just thought it was in my best interest to go back to school with the circumstances I was given. And on top of that, graduating was important for me, so that also weighed that decision. I promised my parents I would graduate no matter what happens. So being able to have that under my belt is definitely super awesome. And I'm super glad I went back to school. Had a good year performance-wise, got to graduate and got to go someplace, Omaha, someplace that I've always dreamed of going to ever since I got to college. So that was probably one of the most fun years of baseball and life in general that I've had.
Much like the movie Draft Day, the Mets basically said Brandon Sproat no matter what, and they took you again in the 2023 draft in the 2nd round. Can you walk me through that draft day where you were ready probably to sign professionally at that point, and was there a party? Who was there? And were you surprised that the Mets were the team to take you a second time?
Going into it, I was kind of, my 4th year of college, I had graduated. I'd made it to Omaha. Yeah, I had extra year eligibility, but really there was nothing left for me at school. I mean, I accomplished everything I wanted to, and being a professional baseball player has always been a dream of mine. So that was the next thing on the checklist to do, and I was blessed to be picked again by the Mets. It kind of did throw me off guard a little bit with the Mets picking me again, because I mean, very rarely do you ever see that. But I guess it's in God's will, as to there's a certain reason as to why they went with me and why I'm here. So overall, from draft until now, it's been really good. They're a good program. All the guys here are great. Good coaching staff. I mean, it's been good.
Speaking of that program, the Mets pitching development side of things have produced great results at all levels of the minor leagues so far this year. What's been your experience with the player development department, and what's the biggest thing that you've taken from your time with them? Maybe spending time in the pitching lab down in Port St. Lucie, and what's that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean the pitching staff here they're great. Anything that you need, like you can ask. I think the biggest thing for me that I like is you can ask any type of question, and they always have some sort of resource or some sort of answer to it, whatever it may be. I think for me, honestly, like what's helped is just how open they are to new ideas, and honestly, if you need help, like they're gonna help you. But like if you kind of like want to be left alone, like they'll do that as well. They kind of play a part in what you need as a player, and they also get to know you as a person outside of baseball, which is very key in this sport. Being able to get to know the player as a person, that's huge. But I mean, pitching staff and even outside the pitching staff, everyone's been great.
So you started off with high A Brooklyn, and now you're here with Double A Binghamton. What's been the biggest difference that you've noticed in hitters from the high A level to the Double A level?
I mean, I really haven't noticed too much of a difference. They all say like, oh, like the higher you go up, you got to throw more strikes, or you got to land your off speed for strikes. That's at any level you go to, really. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter where I'm at, who I'm facing. My plan of attack stays the same, no matter who it is, no matter where I'm at. So I mean, I wouldn't say there's a huge difference. I mean, it's baseball. I mean, everyone plays it the same way. The game doesn't change. It's been the same for years on end. The talent might be better. I mean, that might be about the only difference in levels, but I mean, you still got to go there with the same plan of attack every time.
So you obviously have had a fantastic first half to your professional career, and now you're starting to pop up on top 100 prospect lists for MLB Pipeline, for Baseball America. Is that something that you pay any attention to at all, or am I breaking news to you that you are now a top 100 prospect in baseball, according to these outlets?
No, I mean, I've been aware of it. I mean, some of the guys have brought it up. I mean, I've heard about it. But really, I mean, I don't pay attention to really any of it, to be honest. I don't get wrapped up in it. I just kind of go out there, do my deal, and I mean, I can't control, what prospect I am or who sees me where. I just worry about my own stuff and kind of worry about my own thing. And so yeah.
Last one for you, Brandon. Appreciate the time. What are your goals the rest of the year here with Double A Binghamton? And I know you probably want to be where your feet are, but the major leagues is just a couple stops away. Do you ever let that thought creep into your head at all?
No, not really. I mean, that's just part of being where my feet are. Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, once you hit Double A, I mean, you can be possibly one call away. I mean, I don't really like to think about it too much. Like, yeah, I mean, the thought might pop into my head every now and then. I mean, I accept it. Accept the thought of it, and just move on. I mean, I can't control things outside of what I can control. I mean, I just kind of like I said, just kind of go about my own business. Stick with what I know, and just really, just have fun and enjoy it with these guys. But yeah, I mean, I think my goals are pretty simple. Moving forward, just like I said, just being where my feet are. And just enjoying it and having fun. And that's what it's been so far.
Appreciate your time and best of luck the rest of the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.